routine. All week, no, church be, I look forward to coming. Forward to fellowshipping with your brother. It's a place where you should lay all your, as they say, lay your burdens down. Let your guard down. Not have to worry about folks hitting you upside the head. Hear God's word. Be encouraged. So there we go. Feel a little bit better because y'all was in the ground when I walk out. I think we'll tell y'all. But let's go back to 1 Kings 17. I'm going to get in here and get out your way. Have Sunday school, eat donuts, and get some good teaching. Yeah. Those that didn't come out, we are having Bibles. Oh yeah, if you've been in the restrooms, have you seen what's in there? Tell my bro with your ass to Gladys. I got it that time. There you go. It looks nice in there. Thank you all so much. Recognize things. Thank you. That's what I love about this place. Everybody pitches in and do what God. Everybody pitches in and do what they can to help it, and that's what a family is about. Amen. I'm going to read 17 through 24. We're going to start winding this down because one thing I want to go to, but verse 17 through 24. Now it happened after these things that the son of the woman who owned the house became sick. And her sickness, her son became sick. And his sickness was so serious that there was no breath left in him. So she said to Elijah, "What have I to do with you, O man of God? Have you come to bring my sin to my remembrance and kill my son?" And he said to her, "Give me your son." So he took him out of her arms and carried him to the upper room where he was staying and laid him on his own bed. Then he cried out to the Lord and said, "O Lord my God, have you also brought tragedy on the widow with whom I lodge by killing her son?" And he stretched himself out on the child 3 times and cried out to the Lord and said, "O Lord my God, I pray, let this child's soul come back to him." Then the Lord heard the voice of Elijah, and the soul of the child came back to him, and he revived. And Elijah took the child and brought him down from the upper room into the house and gave him to his mother. And Elijah said, "See, your son lives." Watch this. Then the woman said to Elijah, "Now by this I know that you are a man of God, and that the word of the Lord is in your mouth." You may be seated. Then the woman said to Elijah, "Now by this I know that you are a man of God, and that the word of the Lord is in your mouth." The word of the Lord in your mouth is the truth. I just want to do a part 2 on this one. Lessons from Zarephath part 2. Be finishing this up shortly, but as we continue to look at the life of Elijah, there are 2 things I want us to focus on. It's God's moving Elijah and the lessons that can be learned from his movement. Because even though Elijah is in a strategic situation, God also allows us to be moved strategically. And a lot of times in life, he moves us. He gives us partial instructions, but he doesn't give us everything. But every movement in your life, my brothers and sisters, a better way, it is by divine design. Whether you do it yourself or whether like Elijah, he is strategically moving you, there is a reason for you being where you are. And this is what we look at, because one thing I know about God, he doesn't do everything the same way, but there are some things we can learn that he does do from generation to generation. So I want you to know right now, you've been on a journey, and a lot of times you have been in some position. You say, "Lord, what meaneth this? Why am I attached to some people I'm with now? Why am I at this job? Why am I staying in this location? Why do you strategically have me where you have me?" I just want to let you know there's a reason for your being or where you are. And I've come to find out along the Christian walk, it comes with maturity. God will give you information, but you still got to go through it. Amen. So I want to give you some information that maybe you can see some movement in your life, and instead of being upset and bitter and lost, you can sit back and say, "What am I to learn from where I am?" Amen. I do want to interject this right quick. Now, God does move you by his, like Elijah, he's going to give you instructions. Sometimes God moves us because we inflict it on ourselves. But what I love about God, even when we make moves out of his will, there is a lesson to be learned. You all do know that there are more than one way to this church, right? You can come down Rains or you can come down Chef Drive, right? Now, depending on what time. Now, you can go a long way here, a short way there. Many roads here. It's just like life. God gets you the way he's going to get you, but sometimes you can go the way he tells you to go and learn what he wants, or you can go your own route. Now, you'll still get here. That don't mean that you won't catch some stop signs, some red lights. You might hit some potholes and you might hit some detours. You'll get here, but your road will be roughly traveled. But you'll get there.
Yes. All right. All right.
The background of our text, Elijah has, we know, pronounced the drought before King Ahab and Jezebel. Right after the pronouncement, God begins to strategically move Elijah through a series of places that appear to have significance for his growth and development, before his ultimate showdown in chapter 18, which we'll be talking about. Now, the first place was Cherith. We understand that was the place of cutoff and isolation. God took him, set him aside, took him from everybody. And there are times when God will strategically take you from folk that you like, why don't so-and-so call me? How come I don't have these friends? You might be at Cherith. You might be at the cutoff point. He cut him off. The place was also hiding. He hid him to protect him and also prepare him. Sometimes you're with people in certain places because God has told you to hide. It's not time. Good God Almighty. There are some people that have greatness on your life. Amen. There are some of you have greatness on your life, but sometimes God got to keep you hid. Because it's not time for you to be wonderful yet. I know I'm right anyway. Yeah. God, you're gonna be with y'all, but it's not time for you to blow up yet. So he hides you for your protection and your protection as well as your development. And he also, it was a place of unusual provision because God was trying to teach him that I can provide for you by means that you don't normally understand, and I can do it at a set time. In other words, it was a place where it taught Elijah to live day by day. And some of us have to understand there will be a time for a fat bank account. But then there is always a time where it seems like you have just enough. Because there is a tendency when we have more than enough, we get complacent and back off from God. I know I'm talking good. Because when the car's running right, you got a few thousand in the bank, you have a need not to want to talk to your Heavenly Father. But when you get those insufficient funds coming through, you start talking about, well, I got 25 days left and I got X amount. And when I look at the light bill, the telephone bill, all these other bills, and my gas bill, I got more month than money. You stay in church. But anyway, let me hurry up out of here. Yeah. See, there's a tendency with human nature that when we have more than enough, we want to step back on the one who gave it to us. But let me move right on. Yeah. So Cherith was one place. Then, he said, look, go by the brook. The water's there, but your water's going to dry up, but I'm going to feed you. Now you understand that he told him to move because the brook dried up, not because the food dried up. So he said, move and go to Zarephath. Now, that place is where we are now, but it's like a part 1 and part 2. Now, he said, go to Zarephath, and when you look up the word Zarephath, it means a place of refining. First Peter talks about it, our faith, and I need to let you know that God will sometimes put you in a position to refine you. I know y'all feel like you got it going on. I know when you look in the mirror, like what's that Cinderella? Who's the fairest? Who's the fairest? I know y'all say, I'm the fairest of them all. I know when you look in the mirror when you got your nice clothes on. Don't play with me. I know how y'all get because you would spend so much time in the mirror. Brothers too, but anyway. But I know when you look in the mirror, you don't see any flaws. But when you look at God's mirror, that is His Word, you'll always find there's room for improvement. I know you think you're all right. We know the lingo. Y'all hear me say, oh yeah, how you doing? Highly favored, blessed of the Lord. Yeah, but behind closed doors, you're cussing like old sailor. But anyway, we all got flaws. And even though if you don't admit you need some work, God will always put you in a position to work on you. Can I talk? You're going to be worked on till the day. I'm sorry for all of those who feel that they have arrived. You will never arrive on this side. But God is always going to have you where your faith has been tested. Can I talk? A faith that can't be tested can't be trusted. Don't tell me you got faith, but you ain't never been through nothing. I know I'm talking good this morning. Don't talk about I got faith to move mountains, but yet a bill come, you ready to go, ah! I'm talking about faith. In other words, I love God because I love David Because you say what you want about him. Whenever God gives you something, he gives you a finished product. Yeah. See, God gonna make sure he works out the kinks in somebody before he put them up. God don't like failure. So I know I'm right. So right now you on your way to something, but God's still trying to refine you. But anyway, Zarephath. The word means refining. Now it was also a place that was unusual placement. God said, look, now watch this. You're running from Ahab and Jezebel. Then God says, oh yeah, by the way, your next move, I need you to go to Jezebel's hometown. Hold on, wait a minute. She's an idolatrous woman, and now you sending me back to her hometown. That's what I said. Go. All right. And it was about 100 miles up. Now, if going to her hometown, and I got to walk or travel 100 miles, the road that God gives you is not going to be easy. All right. And I've told you before, his ways don't make sense to you. Yes, sir. You're right about it. Then it was a place, he said, now go there, and I'm going to have a widow provide for you. An unusual provision. Go there. So I think it was water there, because he didn't mention water. He just said she's going to provide for you. So it was a place of refining. It was in Jezebel's hometown. He said a widow going to take care of you, which was unusual because, number one, there were Jewish widow, but why are you sending me to a Gentile? Can I put it that way? In other words, you got some Christian widow, but why are you sending me to an unsaved Christian? Yes. Unsaved widow. That don't make sense either. But one thing about Elijah, he just said go. I wish some of us would just say okay when God talked to us instead of trying to anyway move right on. God said you go left. We got to sit back and analyze the situation. Well, he didn't ask for it. He just said go. But he goes and he said the widow gonna take care of you. But then, he gets there and she's broke. So he said, Zarephath, he goes, said, what is going to take care of you? He gets to the gate of the city. She's picking up sticks for her last meal. So you told me to go to Jezebel's hometown, and the widow going to take care of me. They can't take care of herself. She's collecting her sticks to prepare a last meal for her and her son. So we know that God works a miracle. He asked her to give him the food first, and God said, if y'all, cut the heat back on. He said, the oil and the flour will not run out. Period. So we left the first part of chapter 17. We left this part right here when everything is fine. We left off last week. Elijah is with this widow, and she has a house similar to this. But she has upstairs room, similar to this, where the guests would stay. So now everything is going well. Elijah is staying in this woman's guest room. What I like about this was last week, you remember, he said, go to Zarephath and dwell there. In other words, sit down and stay a while. Sit down, stay still. So now, I need you to go there, and you're going to be there for a minute. That's going to come back and make sense in a few seconds. So now, everything is going good. Has anybody ever been to a point where you felt like you were about to go under and God came in and saved the day? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. All right, then. Everything, you felt like, it was great. Now watch this. Look at verse 17. Sometime later, the woman's son became sick. He grew worse, and he finally died. Hold on, wait a minute. Elijah came, and God said, give me some food first, and we're going to be all right. So some time has passed. All three of them are living together and fellowshipping. And all of a sudden, this woman, who is not really of faith, who's believing in this miracle of the man of God, the same son that she was prepared to lose once, now died. All right. Watch this. I want you to remember something about this text. God moving Elijah to Zarephath was not always about his provision. All right. This is all about God reaching out to those out of his will and bringing them into his will. In other words, this second move that God did, God told him, I'm going to provide for you through a widow. He did that, right? That was the first part. Now, he did tell him about this. The first part was about Elijah. The second part is what God could do through Elijah in the life of somebody else. Now it makes sense. God has you in a position right now that where you are, it might not be all about you. It might be about what God can do through you to affect somebody else who's not on the same page with you.
Amen. Amen.
Has anybody ever wondered why you've been linked up to folk that just don't fit in your circle?
Yes, sir. Yes,
See,
sir.
God is concerned. God is concerned about the other folk. You know the folk that y'all don't like talking to since y'all say 5 people. And that's what I'm talking about. Y'all talking about them folk. Am I doing right? You know the folk, y'all, you know the folk that when they come to church, y'all like, what they doing? Anyway, let me go. See, he's concerned about those folks. See, because once upon a time, you was one of those folk. See, you act like you came in this world. I never about us, you act like you came in there like that. See, but now you was once them folks.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Let me hurry up and get up out of here. Come on, y'all, come back.
Yes, sir.
So now, everything's going good. Paint the picture. They're having a good time. All of a sudden, Elijah steps out, and she comes home, and her son has gotten sick and died. Now, the first two things I want us to watch. Now, let's look at the position of this widow. She lost her son. Now Elijah comes back. She says in verse 18. She says to Elijah, "Oh man of God,
Yes.
what have you done to me?
Woo-wee.
Have you come here to point out my sins and kill my son?" Two things stand out in this verse. Number one, we see the issue of blame.
Yes.
And we're going to see the issue of the wrong perception of tragedy.
All right.
Watch this. This woman was in an emotional state.
Yes.
She's been blindsided by this turn of it. Everybody have been blindsided.
Oh,
In
yes.
other words, you sing about all God and then all of a sudden out of left field. Where in the world did this come from?
Yes.
See, y'all have been blindsided, but all I'm going to say for you is keep living.
All right, Bridget.
She was prepared to lose him once.
Yes.
God spared him. Now death comes anyway.
Yes.
She don't know what to do with herself.
All right.
She has lost the one thing that was probably most dear to her, present and future. Watch this. She lost her son. But by her being a widow, she was somewhat dependent upon the day that he would grow up and take care of her.
Oh, yes.
Has anybody ever lost something that was dear to you, but also something that was really valuable and profitable to you?
Oh, yes.
But now she does something. She says, "Oh man of God, what have you done to me?" She blames Elijah indirectly for the death of her son.
Oh, yes.
Watch this. In times of crisis, people have a tendency to blame other folks.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I do believe when God said, "Adam, what you do? The woman you gave me."
Yes. Yes.
In times of crisis, there's also y'all laughing, but in times, don't laugh too much. Y'all tell on yourself now. In times of crisis, y'all know. Y'all know.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna pick on the women. Can I do that for a minute?
Yes, sir.
They talk. As soon as they go wrong, you man. Ooh, I said that out loud. My bad.
All right.
Y'all watch this. Immature people and people with limited knowledge of God tend to blame others for tragedies in their life.
Yes, sir. Yes,
This
sir.
woman just sit back and said, "Oh man of God, what have you done to me?" Parents, for example, they do all they can do for their children.
Yes, sir.
Something goes wrong, they blame the parent.
All right.
Pastors, they counsel, help, assist. Things go wrong, people won't go blame the pastor.
Yes, sir.
You got friends, you help them, encourage them. Things go wrong, you wasn't my friend no way.
All right. All right.
Managers, supervisors, entrepreneurs, you help people get the job, succeed at work, things go wrong, you wasn't no good. You got doctors who have helped the family, been in the family for years, delivered baby the whole nine. A loved one dies from natural cause, you want to blame, you want to go sue the doctor that helped you. It's a tendency in crisis for us to want to blame other folk.
Yes, sir.
Then also, the tragedy, watch this. She said, "What have you done to me? Have you come here to point out my sins and kill my son?" Every time something goes wrong in your life, it's not a payment for sin.
That's right.
A lot of times go wrong. "Oh God, you pay me back for what I did 20 years ago." Not all the time. She associates this death. Number one, she blames him. And now she's saying, "Have you come to reveal my sin?" How many of us, when tragedy hits, the first thing our mind goes back to something we did wrong and God is paying us back?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Watch this.
Yes, sir.
People need to understand the difference between a storm of correction and a storm of perfection.
All right.
The disciples asked a question concerning a blind man. Who did sin, his mother or his father? Jesus said neither one of them. He was born blind that my glory may be manifested.
Yes.
There are some things we go through in life. There are some tragedies in your life God allows to perfect you and get his glory. It's not always sin related. And there's so many people in the body of Christ wrestle when something goes wrong or go wrong in their life. I'm being paid for my past sin. If God has forgiven you and forgotten it, why are you still hanging on to it?
Right.
God has forgiven you, why you still want to keep talking about it?
Amen.
Y'all, that's what I know, but
Amen.
see, I'm free, so y'all can do what you want. Anyway, remember Job? He was in a storm. It was a storm of perfection.
Yes, sir.
Paul with the thorn. It was a thorn. It was a storm of perfection.
Yes, sir.
Watch this. This tragedy in her life was an opportunity for this woman to learn to look up at God and not her circumstance.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
I was researching, and these are 3 illustrations from Dr. Alan Carter that I thought very interesting. He says, look what he says. You can catch a wild buzzard and put him in an open pen that's 6 feet by 6 feet. He cannot fly away. Why? A buzzard needs at least 12 feet of runway to take off.
Yes,
A 6 by 6 pen,
Uh-huh.
but there's nothing over the top. Take a bat. Place him on the ground, and he'll flop around there until he dies. Why? He can only achieve flight from an elevated position. He must launch out into the air. This third one, watch this. Take a bumblebee and put him in a tumbler. Leave the top open. Put him in a big tall cup and no top on it. And the bee will never find his way out. He can, watch this. He is so interested in trying to fly through the glass in front of him, he will never think to look up and find his way out. What's the point? All 3 of these, the buzzard, the bee, and the bat, all fail to notice that freedom is right above them.
All right.
Sometimes we are so busy looking at what's in front of us instead of looking up and live. Every time tragedy comes, we are so focused on looking at this instead of let me look up to God and live.
Amen.
Like the bumblebee just call it, bumping itself into the glass, and the lid is off. How many of y'all know the lid is off your situation? You still trying to focus on the tragedy.
All right.
If God just saved your son, why is he going to turn around and take your son? If God told Abram, I'm going to give you a son, I'm going to do all my blessings through him. And then he turned around and said, oh yeah, by the way, sacrifice him. Sometimes you might not know what's going on, but you got to hold on to what God said anyway. Too many of us, when tragedy comes, we want to blame folk. We want to look at the sin I've done instead of saying, Lord, what meaning that?
All right.
Trying to help y'all. Stop getting bogged down and start looking up. Too many folk are looking at other folk, looking at how bad it is instead of looking up and live.
All right. All right, preacher. All right.
If I be lifted up,
Yes.
I draw all men unto me. We so gotta have to walk around just like this here. Things in life gonna happen, but you got to learn how to take your eyes out of what you see and look to the one you can't see. I told you last week, and I'm gonna say it again. I don't know how, I don't know when, but I know he's gonna work it out somehow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Why do I know that? Because of these promises in his word. He's not a man that he should lie.
Oh, yes.
It's not for me to figure out how he's gonna do it. All he wants me to believe is that he can and will.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yes, sir.
Now, we get on out of
All
here.
right, preacher.
We look at this. She blaming him. Elijah comes back. He coming back away, coming back. And the boy pretty much probably handed it to him. Now watch this. She's accusing him. Why you came here to reveal my sin? Now God brought judgment on me. Elijah walked, verse 19. The first thing he says, but Elijah replied, give me your son.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Give it.
I want to talk about the maturity of Elijah.
All right.
And wherever you are now, see, you might have been hooked up with some folk that they were all chaotic. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now. God put you where you are because you can handle what comes.
All right. All right.
God just said, go to Zarephath and a widow's going to take care of you. He said, go there and dwell. By him saying, sit down and stay still.
Yes, sir.
God didn't tell the man of God it's a part 2 to this thing.
right.
You going because you think you're being provided for. But you can provide something for somebody else. Right now you're worried about your provision. But the second move in your life is about what you can do for other folk. Right where you are, you have been prepared to do for others what you didn't think you could do. The first thing about his maturity was he had tough skin. Now watch, did he start trying to defend himself? You hooked up with folk blame you thing he said, give me your son.
All right. All right.
See, you got to understand, it takes maturity.
Yes, sir.
You wonder why you with somebody this chaotic and all over the place? Because you've grown beyond that.
Amen. Amen.
Y'all missing it. He said, go to Zarephath and a widow gonna prepare for you. He said nothing about no dead boy.
All right. All right.
He just said, give me the boy. First thing is, apparently Elijah's been away, and upon his return, he's hit with accusations and news for the widow. Elijah exhibits that he has tough skin. As a maturing believer, hear me now, we must be able to see a situation and see through the situation.
All right. All right.
You right about it.
Amen.
Folk go, if you are a blood-bought child of God, folk gonna falsely accuse you.
Yes, sir.
But I do believe the Lord told me a long time ago in His Word, vengeance is mine.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's not a vengeance, but in other words, I fight for you.
Yes, sir.
Why when people say stuff to you, it gets you all sideways? You got to be able to see a situation and see through it.
Yes, sir.
Can I help some of y'all? Sometime had a conversation. I know Satan exists. Very much so. But see, as a mature believer, you have to be able to look at a situation and see fleshly activity, emotional activity,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
and satanic activity. You got to be able to see through the situation.
All right.
You right about it.
Elijah didn't know what was going on. He just said, give me the boy.
All right. All
See,
right.
you're accusing me don't hold weight with me. And see, some of us need to let some stuff go.
Yes, sir.
When folk come up against you, sometimes you need to learn how to just turn the other cheek and let it roll off. I know I'm right because God put you there because you can handle what you're going through.
Amen.
You can turn the other cheek and just come to the point, do you want to turn it? See, but when you're like Elijah, you got to focus that you know what's going on. You got to learn how to see a situation and see through a situation. You blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I know, but give me the child.
All right. All right.
All the other stuff you're talking about really irrelevant to me right now. Just give me the boy.
Yes, sir.
That's all I need, just give me the boy.
All right.
Watch this, next thing is, he displays calmness and focus in the midst of chaos. Look at this. He doesn't know why this has happened, but he knows who to take the dead situation to.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something? You've been linked with some folk that God has allowed some stuff to happen in their life. They about to lose their mind. But see, you with them, you don't know what's going on, but see, you know where to take the situation to even though they don't.
Yeah.
Y'all missed it. Yeah. He said, give them to me, because see, I'm going to take them up here to this room where I live, and I'm going to pray for them. See, the people you with, they couldn't handle what you're going
No,
through.
sir.
That's why you there.
All right.
See, God is also doing something for them, but God is teaching you how to deal with situations.
Yes, sir.
See, refining is he's burning off some stuff, and right where you are, you got to be refined. You have to learn it's not always about you, but it's about God can do through you.
Yes, sir.
See, you got some, the people you hanging with, good God Almighty. The Bible says iron sharp as iron.
Yeah.
Sometimes God will put you with people that are able to bring you up to another notch.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Let me get out of here.
All right.
Look at the maturity. Now look at the ministry of Elijah. And he took the child's body from her arm. He carried him upstairs to the room where he was. He laid him on the bed. First thing I see in his ministry, there was compassion. Elijah just could have said, that's part of life, sweetheart.
Awesome.
You know how people go.
Yeah.
It's part of life. Everybody got to die sometime.
Yeah.
No. But he had compassion and did something. Watch this. God sometimes puts us in situations, allows us to do things for others that others probably would not do. I know I said what I said, but I was being humorous about being real. See, there's some folk out there that people have thrown away. Counted them as nothing and nobody. But see, for some reason, they linked up with you. See, because God allowed you to move with compassion on them because other folk wouldn't.
All right. Amen.
In other words, other folks say they ain't worth saving.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Y'all ain't right.
Right now, great child. Right
Y'all
now.
know some folks, there ain't no hope for them.
That's right.
But for some reason, God linked them up with you. And you end up showing them some compassion. But you wonder, why am I at Zarephath? See, because some of it was for you, but the other part was for them. God put them with you because he needed for you to show them some compassion when other folk wouldn't. Good God Almighty. Sometimes you put folk under your wing and other folk will got to learn everybody gonna have a Zarephath. You're gonna be linked to somebody that you can do something for.
Yes, sir.
He showed you compassion.
Yes, sir.
Now watch this, also a lesson for him. He also, whenever you touch the dead body, you were ceremonially unclean. It didn't matter to Elijah. Elijah like, wait a minute, all I know is the boy dead. So I'm going to go up here and see, I'm going to stretch him out. Now we don't know why he stretched him out and he laid on him, mouth to mouth like that. We don't know. That may be something God told him. We don't know. But all we do know is he had compassion and he touched the boy.
Yes, sir.
All right.
In other words, him being ceremonial unclean was not an issue with him right now. But ain't it strange how some of us, you hanging with so-and-so?
Amen.
Good church folk. You mean to tell me you talking to the wino? You ain't gonna be doing that. You're gonna be unclean. You know, I heard from some. I'm just being. I heard some people say, I ain't gonna pray with that person because I might get that nicotine demon. I've been in this thing a while. I heard a whole lot. I ain't gonna pray for them. That nicotine demon might come out on me. Well, you have not a very good relationship. Put it like that.
Yes, sir.
Can't hang with them. That old alcoholic spirit don't be with me. In other words, Elijah's like, I know should be touching a dead boy, but first of all, I don't know why he's dead. But Lord, you said we were going to live. So he didn't look at the situation.
Yes, sir.
He looked up.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
Sometimes, see, a lot of us, thank you, Lord, some of us have learned to look up for ourselves. But we ain't learned how to look up for others.
All right.
When was the last time? Now, there's some of y'all that can say, hey, I know the Lord hear my prayers. But how many times has the Lord heard your prayers for somebody else? When the last time you stood up and prayed for somebody else besides yourself? When the last time you prayed for somebody else to get right and not yourself get right? Let me move right on. Yeah. There are some people we are reluctant to touch or come in contact with because they may defile us. I do remember there was a woman with issue of blood. She knew she was unclean, but you know what? I deal with unclean later, but he got something that I need. Yeah. I look at his ministry. There was a petition. Look what Elijah said. And I'm out your way, Sunday school teachers, whoever it is. Then Elijah cried out to the Lord, oh Lord, my God.
Yes.
Listen to this. Why have you brought tragedy to this widow who opened her home to me, causing her son to die? And he stretched himself out over the child 3 times and cried out to the Lord, oh Lord, my God, please let this child's life return him. This lets me know he didn't know what was going on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't know why you let him die, but I need you to let him live.
Yes, sir.
I've always tried to teach you all. It's like a math. God gives you some. He'll give you the beginning and an ending. But he don't always tell you the middle.
All right.
You have to always take what he gives you. He just said a little earlier that the meal and the flour gonna go and y'all gonna be sustained. But you died. That ain't part of the equation.
All right.
Y'all missing it. I got the A.
Yes.
I got the C. But where's the B?
All right.
So since I don't have the B, I got to rely on the A and the C. Which tells me you said the meal and stuff had ran out. So you ain't got no business dying.
No, sir. All right.
God allowed this opportunity because he was going to do something to teach Elijah, but also perfect something in the woman. God has put you in a position so he can perfect some folk through your ministry. Pastor ain't in ministry, but the life you live is ministry. The walk you have is ministry. The praying you do got ministry. You don't know what you possess. Elijah laid on the boy, but it said that he prayed earnestly. When you go back and read the New Testament, it talks about how Elijah prayed earnestly. The prayers of a righteous man or woman avail much. It ain't all about your ta-ta in hand. But if you got a relationship with the Lord God Almighty, you can pray on the behalf of somebody else. You might not raise a dead child, but you can resurrect somebody's dreams and hopes. If you just pray for them, you just encourage them. All it takes is a little bit of prayer. why you are
Yes, sir.
where you are.
Yes, sir.
Might be because your prayers get up.
Oh, yes.
Now, ain't too many folks raising up dead folk.
No, sir.
But you run into some folk that have given up on life. All God wants you to do is pray for them. Some people just broke, busted, and disgusted. All God wants you to just give them a little bit of love. And you never know what may happen. See, Zarephath, he talks about him being provided for. But God told him, I got something for you to give. And your Zarephath experience for too that you got something to give.
All right. Go ahead.
Elijah didn't know why it happened. He just said, Lord, restore the boy.
Yes, sir.
I don't know what happened. Why? But he said, let the boy restore the boy, Lord.
Yes, sir.
He prayed earnestly.
Yes, sir.
The New Testament talks about the prayer life. Now, this is what I want you to remember. Remember what I said earlier about God positioning you and uniting you. Watch this. God will sometimes place you in a position where you can and will be a conduit or a channel for blessings to others to flow.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
You think you ain't got nothing to offer. Try to hope this illustration makes sense. You see that socket over there? That preacher got that little, he plugged that into? I think that's an outlet, right?
Yes, sir.
You do know you can cut the power off, you can take that outlet out, right? That outlet is nothing by itself, right? But even when you put it back in the wall, when you flip the switch, the electricity comes through the outlet. Y'all gonna get it. The outlet ain't nothing by itself. It's just a channel, a point of contact for electricity.
All right. We got it.
Might not be much of nothing to you, but you might be like that outlet. You are just a point, a channel for electricity to flow through. You might not have a whole lot to yourself, but God puts it right there to be a channel for His blessings to flow through. Stop thinking you ain't got nothing to offer. Your relationship with God goes a long way with other folks. Well, y'all used to know back in the day, people say, Mama prayed for you, Grandma, yeah. Them old folks, they might not have known the word. But all they said was, watch Jane and John. And some kind of way when you were doing the wrong thing, something down in the inside said, you don't need to be here. All of a sudden, they prayed for you. You might have been looking at jail time. All of a sudden, you got out somebody praying for you. You got to realize you and I are no more than a channel for God to flow through. As I end, your relationship with God brings and allows God's power. Hear this good, church. Your relationship with God brings and allows God's power and resources to be released in the lives of others. Y'all missed that.
All right.
I told First Lady, God amazes me. These things I tell you when I say remember, these are things He literally tells me. Your relationship with God brings and allows God's power and resources to be released in the lives of others.
Amen.
Can I help some of y'all right quick before I go?
Help us.
If God put you in a position because of His relationship with you, and He uses you for blessings to flow through, what makes you think He ain't gonna bless you for it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You right, Pastor.
How God gonna let something come through me to bless you, never bless me?
Amen. You right about it now.
This is why I can look at some of y'all. I'm gone. This is why I can look at some of y'all. You got some stuff coming.
Amen.
I can look at some of y'all. You got some stuff coming. Lives have been affected. You got some stuff coming.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
This is the first recorded instance of someone in the Bible being resurrected. Watch this as I leave. Why could Elijah pray for resurrection when no one ever done it? This is the first time in the Bible that someone will ever be resurrected from the dead. The first time. Why could He do it? Watch this. Because God promised to sustain the little band until the drought ended. God already said we're going to live to see the end of the drought. If God already promised life and death comes, why have you stopped?
You right. You right about it now.
It just might be a test.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
Yes, sir.
It just might be an opportunity for God to show you how great He is and show someone else how great He is Watch this. The boy was supposed to be alive when the first rain fell on the land. Elijah prevailed in prayer because he believed God's word.
Amen.
Listen to this. Baal worship. Baal was not the only God worshipped. Remember when he pronounced the rain in the beginning, because he said there would be no more rain. Baal was like the rain god. So by God saying there would be no rain, he was coming against the rain god. Watch this. This is the ending. God told him to go to Zarephath. Go to Jezebel's hometown, to a Gentile widow. Now, where he sent him was at the heart of idol worship. Baal worship was for the rain.
Amen.
But there was another god that was prevalent called Mot. Mot was the god over death.
Yes, sir.
Y'all missing it?
They're missing, man.
So in other words, this woman saw him move once. But now she was fully aware of Mot, the God over death. So now, when God is going to raise this boy, it defeated Mot. See, God put you in a position to do some things. To defeat some little gods and the people you hanging with. The move that God brings through your life can change the belief in others. Some folk you hanging with had some crazy beliefs. Had some crazy thoughts. See, but when God let go wrong in their life and use you to bring about a change, whether you know it or not, God was able to defeat that little God. Verse 23 and 24 says, Elijah brought him down and gave him to his mama. Look, he said, your son lives. He comes down, he comes downstairs. Here you go. Your baby lives. Look at she says in 24. Then the woman told Elijah, now I know.
Yes, sir.
For sure.
Yes, sir.
You are a man of God. And that the Lord truly speaks through you. See, we talked about last week. All God told him was that a widow won't provide for you. He didn't tell you what you was going to do for the widow. All right. Sometimes all God says is, I need you to go there. And you're going to be provided for. But then all of a sudden you say, well, I've been here a little bit longer than I thought. Because there might be something coming that he don't tell you about. See, but that was Elijah's test. See, but you've already been primed for what's coming. See, good God Almighty, a test ain't a test if I tell you it's coming. A test ain't a test if I tell you it's coming. In other words, you have to learn from life. I just want to talk about the lessons from Zarephath part 2. Prayerfully, you have been encouraged. Doors of the church.